Hello beautiful people, welcome to the Canada Info Hub channel. My name is Wolo. I am an RCIC based in Manitoba, Canada, and if you are here for the first time, please give me the thumbs up and subscribe to this channel. Please subscribe. Thank you so much to all my day one followers. You guys are the real MVP. Okay, so it's no longer news that Canada has increased the proof of funds requirement for study visas, and social media has been awash of different things, different scenarios. The Canadian government is trying to shrink the population of people that would eventually come in. That means even if you show 20K card, like I used to tell my clients who try to come to Canada as students that if as at then the government, or as at now the government says show us that you have 10K card, but I tell my clients, do not show the Canadian government or the visa officers that you have 10K card. You have to show them that you have double of that amount of money, because they will say if you just show us only 10K card, it means you're using your life savings to come to study, which does not make any sense to the visa officer when they will consider the options available in your home country. If you look at a lot of reasons for refusals, they will say if you have options in your home country, for instance, you want to come and study masters in business administration in Canada, which will cost you about 10 times the amount you will pay if you were to study in your country. So if you just show them that 10K card proof of funds, it was not sufficient, they will still refuse the application. Now they've increased it to 20K plus, and I would say almost 21K card. Now with that increase, it still does not mean if you show them that exact amount, they will still approve the visa. No. You still have to show them that you have more than that amount, in excess of that amount. So it's automatically shrinking the quantity of people that would want to choose Canada as a destination for studies. It is shrinking it's shrinking it, and it's looking like only people who are very rich or averagely rich that can afford to pay their tuition and their living expense, these are the people that will be granted visas. And honestly, do I like it? I would say because of, I tend to want to fall towards the category of people that want to be fair to everybody. And in all fairness, it is not fair to the people who really, 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 really want to study and who really do not have the financial means, but they have true intentions to study. Now, this policy or this announcement is as a result of several factors. You cannot blame the Canadian government for raising the proof of funds. It's as a result of several factors, from social media, from different factors which I'm going to highlight. Number one, some international students were protesting that they didn't have accommodation. Accommodation was expensive. Of course, when such things happen, it comes to the news carries it, they blow it out of proportion. That information goes to the government takes the information and say, okay, this is number one reason why we have to increase the proof of funds requirement. Number two reason, international students going to food banks meant for the very, very poor people who cannot afford to pay or buy groceries, going to food banks, collecting free food and also selling those free food, and then putting it on social media, like doing a whole video about free food on social media as an international student. I mean, that is so ridiculous. Why would you do such a thing? So this factor is also another reason why the people who operate the food bank, they even decided they had to put an announcement or put a poster in front of their food banks stating that they don't want international students to come and take free food anymore or free groceries anymore from the food banks, because it's actually meant for the locals. So when such things happen, the government is taking note of the data of people who are doing that, and it's indirectly telling the government that these people who already came in, they cannot afford Canada. Another big example that I'll mention is international students who come in and drop out of school claiming that they cannot pay their tuition fees or continue schooling because of the high cost of living. Now, when such things happen, the school takes the data of the people who have dropped out and send it to IRCC to say this group of people, they've dropped out of school. So IRCC collects this data from every school, right? So if in 2022 they gave, let's say, 500,000 visas, international student visa, or they give student visas to 500,000 people, and out of the 500,000 people, only 100,000 people are still in school. It means the remaining 400,000 people dropped out of school, and this is not good for the economy. You know, if they dropped out of school, they are not paying their tuition fees. What are they doing? Some of them must have converted their student visas to work permit. It's possible to do that. So if you get a job offer as a student, you cannot continue education, you can convert it to a work visa, or you can change your status to a visiting visa. Either way, you just have to change status in one way or the other. So this category of people who change status, this category of people who drop out, don't change status, category of people who just drop out flat out and not attend school, this data is being collated and sent to IRCC. IRCC looks at it again and say, okay, so if these people who claimed to have about $30,000 in their account as proof of funds by the time they were applying for the visas, and then they eventually come, they are now saying they don't have the money to continue going to school, then this is the reason why we have to increase the proof of funds requirement, because you cannot tell us that you have so much money or you have this money and then you come and you drop out. So this reason is also one of the factors that made the government to increase the proof of funds requirement. Then the fourth one I think I'll mention here is that there was a news release. I'm going to put the post here stating that a lot of international students dropped out of school and claimed asylum. Now, this is also another major factor why the government is saying, are they claiming asylum when they are already in Canada? Some of the reasons they cite for claiming asylum, if you look at the reasons, they are mostly economical reasons, but of course it will be laced around one of the United Nations, reasons for asylum or refugee claims, kind of. So these factors are what triggered the government to increase the proof of funds requirement. And I tell you the truth, it's not going to be easy going forward. It means that the level of scrutiny that a study visa application will go through effective January 1, 2024, it will be a very high level of scrutiny, whereas visas will just be refused at random reasons, even if you have the proof of funds requirement, because they are trying to sieve out people who are not genuine from people who are genuine. They are trying to sieve out people who do not really, like, even if you have the money, even if you show and they go around and gather the money, there will be flimsy reasons for refusing visas, which, I mean, I'm not praying that should happen to anybody, but they want quality people that can afford to school in Canada, not people who will come and complain about the cost of living in Canada when you already know that the cost of living is high. I mean, so the reason why I am creating this video is that besides coming to Canada as a student, I talked about it in my last video that I don't understand why business owners who own established businesses in Nigeria are actually coming to school in Canada. Besides coming as a student, there are several other immigration pathways that you can consider. You can consider the business route, you can consider getting a job offer route. Is it tough? It is tough. Is it really tough? It is very, very tough. I'm going to be sincere about that. But that doesn't mean you cannot get a job offer. If your skills are in demand, right? If your skills are the skills they are looking for, it's possible to get a job offer. Now, the government has also rolled out the category-based draws, which, I mean, if you look at it, it is very low compared to the general draws. The general draws, that's general express-centric draws, are very high, but the category-based draws, they are not so high. So if you find yourself in an occupation that is among the category-based draws, I mean, it's just left for you to position yourself properly. Write IELTS, try to get very high scores. If you have a master's qualification, it's fine. Go ahead and enter the pool. You might be lucky to be drawn from the category-based draw rather than the general-based draw. The whole essence of this video is this. If you intend to come to Canada as a student in 2024, do not think that the new proof of funds requirement is just what you need to show to be able to get your visa. It's going to be more than that. The new proof of funds requirement is going to shrink the population of people that will eventually come to Canada as international students. I know a lot of people want to use the international student route to be able to gain more points to become permanent residents. Yes, that's the end goal for a lot of people, or for almost everyone. But at the end of the day, they want to shrink it such that it's only people who they think can genuinely afford to study in Canada who will be given visas. So, and it doesn't mean if you show the 20K card proof of funds that you will still be given visa. There are still other factors around getting the visas approved. Do you show potential of strong ties? Do you show potential of returning back to your country, like having enough assets? Do you show potential of having a job offer after studying in Canada? All these things, they look out for all these things. Are you coming to do a course that is actually in demand in Canada? A course in healthcare. Maybe you have the money, you have the assets, you have all that is going for you, you have a travel history, then it's possible to get your visa approved. However, if you do not have all this, it is not the end of the road, right? It's not the end of the road. You look out for other means. There are several other immigration pathways that I talked about on this channel. You can scroll back to my old videos. They are still relevant, but if you want me to talk about them all over again and how they are relevant in 2024, please put it in the comment section so that I'll start creating them one by one on the different pathways of immigrating to Canada. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in my next video. Bye bye.